Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to talk about the idea of revolution and politics within Metropolis, and yeah, it's a good deal of fun. So contextually, there's a lot going on that's being referenced. There's just been the Russian Revolution, the takeover. In Germany, there were many and various small attempts at coups and revolutions throughout Europe, in Italy, Spain, and increasingly throughout all of the colonized countries. Through Asia and Africa and places like that. So it's something that's in the news constantly. A little bit like terrorism these days. There's just a few there. And if you are going to talk about the idea of revolution or rebellion within the film, you do want to mention, one or two of these just to highlight the fact that you have a deep knowledge of the context. Here's a few others. All sorts of things going on. This bottom one here might catch your eye. That was the Munich Putsch, 1923. Hitler went to jail because it was a pretty poor attempt at a coup. But he wrote Mein Kampf there, which is terrible anyway. So for those of you who don't have a strong idea of politics and what's going on, so basically we've got the idea of, the spectrum of where people are. The Liberal and Labor parties within Australia are pretty much sitting there with about a millimetre of difference between them. All right. The idea of once you get to the real ends of this line, you basically get to slavery. But that's just a little look at it there. So basically, we're going from the Communist Manifesto that Karl Marx wrote. Each class is defined by its relation to the productive process. Okay, so we have the upper class who owns the factories, and then we have the working class who works within those factories. The capitalists want to secure power, create profits, live life. The workers basically want higher wages, safe working conditions, shorter hours, job security. And to realise this, there needs to be a lessening of power from the upper class. So the idea being that there's this struggle, this butting of heads between the two major classes of the upper class and the lower class, is that both want what they want, and neither wants to really budge. The capitalists are aided by their wealth, their control of the state, and their domination over schools, media, churches that guide and distort people's thinking. On the workers' side, they have the sheer numbers of people. So let's go into how this is within the film. So the movie has distinct parallels. There is class conflict. There's the eventual rebellion against the master of Metropolis, and these are clearly of Marxist origin. Okay, and even when they're in the square in the final scene of the film and everything's going crazy, the Marseillaise is playing, which is the French national anthem, which came from the French Revolution in 1779 or 17, probably that, but it symbolises the idea of revolution. Within the film, we have the masses destroying the machine through force, which leads to flooding, reflecting Noah. There's a lack of thought with the violent mob, and they left their children behind. So it's just highlighting the craziness of a revolution and a riot, and the idea that a mob does not think. They were incited by the rhetoric of Robot Maria. This was Fredison's idea, which was usurped by Rotwang. And if we have a look at the last paragraph of the Communist Manifesto, just to see how this is represented, they openly declare that their ends can be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. All right, so that's what we've got. The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. So basically saying the workers, the worst thing that can happen for them is not much, because they've already got crappy jobs. And so that's represented by Lang within the film. Okay, but it is a critique of that idea of the mob mentality and smashing the machine. What Lang presents to us is that this revolution must be mediated. There must be talk, there must be intellect, there must be reason. And if it comes from the lower class only and it's violent, it's not going to work. But the other little thing that comes around is by accepting the workers' right to mediation. Joe Fredison now has the complete power at the end of the film. Yes, we have the joining of the hands, but in the end, the workers will go back to being working, and, you know, Fredison will do his thing. Now, protest is impossible because they're in harmony. You can't now rebel. Okay, so not only is it their bodies, but their minds he now controls. They think they have a say, but are they really going to get a say? Or this statement here, and you can pause that and read that, and you can actually make up your mind for yourself, because these are supposed to be your thoughts.